I mean, there's a lot out there. You can argue that Scream and You're Next, those movies are great comedy horror films because I think they balance it very well. I'd definitely say they're more horror films.
Drive-by movies, you're watching
Fresh releases.
My name's Blaise.
And I'm James.
And this week we're talking Satanic Panic, directed by Chelsea Stardust, starring Rebecca Romijn and Haley Griffith.
Death to the weak, wealth to the strong.
You should stop drinking.
You really want to face this sober?
Get that mean lady!
So Haley Griffith stars as Samantha. Samantha is on her first day as a pizza delivery driver. And oh my gosh, is that AJ Bowen? It is AJ Bowen at the beginning of this film. But on her first shift, she is not getting tips and she gets assigned to a house outside of the pizza's jurisdiction. What does she do? She hopes for a big tip, but what she comes across is some satanic panic stuff going down. Blaise, what do you think of Satanic Panic?
It's an interesting movie. It's definitely going for that horror, comedy style vibe. Like, I think there are a lot of like instances that are really funny, like situations, especially like, okay, a pizza delivery driver not getting tips. All right, I'm going to, accost these people who, greedily ordered a pizza and didn't tip me and then kind of get in over my head with this Satanist cult. I like the story. I think it's a cool story. I just feel like a lot of the jokes kind of fell flat. A lot of the comedic instances and like plot points and story were funny, but for me, a lot of the jokes weren't really there. That's a writing thing, I feel like, for me.
Right. And that's, I'd say, is the number one downfall of the movie. I thought there were some really cool creature effects in this movie. And I liked some of the, I was surprised by some of the cast members that we got, like Rebecca Romijn and Jerry O'Connell, even though it's like a short moment with him. But like, I was just surprised to see some of these familiar faces in this movie. It is Miss Stardust's first film. And I thought it was like a decent flick. Some horror fans, it's going to be like just a fun movie to watch. But overall, I think horror enthusiasts, like if you're looking for something amazing, new and fresh, it's not really the freshest release out there. I'm so happy that we're reviewing like a new movie currently, and it seems like it'd be a fun enough plot. But yeah, overall, it's what you said, the comedy just felt flat for me. There were a couple jokes that were funny, but a lot of it missed the mark for me comedy wise.
So being that like the special, when you mix comedy and horror, you make this comedy horror. I'll just say like my peak for comedy horror has to be Shaun of the Dead. I think the creature effects, the gore, it's not really scary so much, but there are some scenes that are a little spooky. The comedy's really up there in that one. So maybe that isn't a 50-50 mix quite. But what would you say like makes a really good comedy horror film?
I mean, there's a lot out there. You can argue that Scream and You're Next, those movies are great comedy horror films because I think they balance it very well. I'd definitely say they're more horror films versus Shaun of the Dead. I definitely say it's more of a comedy, but it's definitely in the horror genre. I'd say but like you said, it is the perfect balance where it's half and half. This one is definitely going more towards the horror genre as well too, but there's just so much comedic elements to where like every line is kind of done for laughs, and a lot of the shots are as well. A lot of the mannerisms too, like everyone you can tell is definitely having fun with their roles, but I'd say the script just was picking up on like, oh, this is smart, like definitely act quirky with it. Like they went into it ahead of time without actually planning out to where it could have been funnier. Like I think like it could have used some it could have used some improvisation in the movie, and that might have helped. I'm not sure if these actors are great at improvising, but we know AJ Bowen is because a lot of Your Next is improvised as well as some of those previous movies. But and I thought that his scenes stood out more than some of the other ones, not just because I love his work in other movies, but they definitely got him for a reason, I'd say. And he stood out more than a lot of our big name actors in this.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like when it comes to the horror elements in this movie, I think that, like you said, the creature effects are really awesome. I think a lot of the horror is there, but I think with just the comedy, it almost comes out like cartoonish in a way. Like the film kind of reminded me of a cartoon in a way. I don't know how to explain it. It's something weird. And it was just a personal thing. I know that. But I feel like the horror and the comedy, it didn't line up quite exactly. Mm-hmm. But I still did enjoy the movie. I am like kind of getting a little nitpicky there with just how it made me feel. But I think overall, like, it still is like a pretty good, like, just movie that Shudder's going to release, weekly or something. I think like most of your horror fans are going to enjoy this movie. I liked it a lot better than Deathgasm, and that's kind of saying a lot, I feel like.
Funny that you bring up Deathgasm, because I was trying to pinpoint where it reminded me of, and it kind of reminded me of like a pilot episode, or like this was like a concept movie for like a full-on TV show. Like I expected more from it and kind of wanted more. So I'd say if you did enjoy this, like if you want it more fleshed out, I'd say check out Taught in the Book of Pure Evil. I'm not sure where you can watch that show currently. I believe you can watch it on Shudder, but I thought like
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like if you like this tone, I feel like it was going for that style of tone. But just I find while some of the jokes might not land with everyone for that TV show, I just the characters are likable enough to where it does make it funny. And this movie, downfall of movies versus TV shows is sometimes you don't get that much time to interact with the main character. And you do get enough in this movie, but it wasn't enough for me to really be like really invested into the movie, I'd say. So that was a bummer with this movie. It's fun. There's a lot I liked about it, but it's a missed opportunity, I'd say, to really stand out a bunch amongst a bunch of other horror films.
Yeah, most definitely. I think like it's going to find its audience definitely on Shudder. I think that's the right place to release a movie like this, where you're amongst horror movies and you're amongst horror fans that love horror movies. So I think if you're going to release a movie like this, Satanic Panic, it's right there in the right place for all the horror fans to check it out. So I definitely recommend, if you like horror movies, checking this out. I think you'll enjoy it. A lot of just the mix of comedy and horror didn't really line up quite the best for me, but I definitely think that the movie is worth a watch, and it was a lot of fun.
And that's going to conclude this week's episode of Fresh Releases. Thanks so much for checking us out. Be sure to give us a like, and best way to help us out is by hitting that Amazon affiliate link in the description box below to watch Satanic Panic.
Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of the film. Also, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button and that notification bell to know when a new video comes out.
Drive-By Movies will come back next week with another new video. We'll see you guys then.